sea. I'll stay down, down. I'm just stuck here in a dream. I'm at the bottom of the ocean. I'm at the bottom of the sea. I'll stay down, down. I'm just stuck here in a dream. At the bottom of the ocean. I'm at the bottom of the sea. I'll stay down, down. I'm just stuck here in a dream.
There are many simple things in the world. Shovels. They are all different. Gardening shovel. Unloading shovel. Children's shovel. But there is also a different shovel. We use it when we come to the position. In short time, it helps us dig a trench which saves us from bullets. If a tank will pass over the trench, there is a high probability that it will not cause any harm to the soldier. We dig in the ground, deeper, and then connect the trenches with our friends to the left. In just a few hours, trenches are all connected. When we do not have an axe, we can use a shovel to cut a loaf of bread. A soldier uses a shovel as a paddle, crossing the wide river under enemy fire. If we run out of ammunition, we will use a shovel again, and then we'll move on. And when we get the order to stop, we'll take a shovel again and build around us an impregnable fortress. This fortress is defended by the army of Ukraine.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
Morning, Sergeant Major.
How do you know what kind of goddamn day it is?
Beautiful morning, Sergeant Major.
Are you a fucking weatherman now?
You're listening to Sergeant's Time on WTF Nation Radio.
Broadcasting live from the functional event in the year of the dumpster fire. I'm your host. Welcome to Sergeant's Time, U.S. Army WTF Moments, WTF Nation Radio. Yeah. Oh, man, how are you? Friday Eve. Man, that's what I'm talking about. Hit that Friday Eve, and we can just go ahead and start planning, for the weekend. I hope you all, spring is like really, there's a tornado warning out for like several locations around Fort Campbell. I think somebody said about Fort Campbell. I'm not verifying that, but I know Fort Hood right now has got some tornado sirens going off and some warnings. So you guys and gals that are out in the field, be careful. Don't be out there in, okay, it was just upgraded to a tornado warning. Okay, well, there we go. So be careful out there. If you're in the field, make sure you seek shelter, and make sure, make sure you just toss Big Sergeant in the funnel. No, I can't say that. I don't want to condone that, but welcome to Sergeant's Time. Very, how do I say this? Very interesting last couple of days in the Army. God, or in the military, I should say. We just got some crazy ass. Look, sergeants, leaders. Well, first off, let me just say tonight we have a guest, Natalia Antonova. She's going to be on here to shoot the breeze. She's going to be joining us at 9:00. So that way, that means the CSM. Yeah, she's going to be joining us at 9:00. Actually, around February of last year, she was the one that came on and pretty much kept everything. She pretty much predicted. I would say predicted. Yeah, I could say that. If you could just search on the timeline there, I think it was 21 February 2022, where we discussed Putin and fuck Putin and Putin, and fuck Putin. You know what I mean? So, she's going to provide us an update, and we're going to have some topics, to discuss, and also discuss to provide the insight of the ever-changing. all you need is your lean-to 11 Bravo all day. Well, okay. She's going to provide some insight to the ever-changing situation in Ukraine, and again, she's going to join us after a year since the Russian invasion. And so we got some topics to discuss. And I'm just going to just shoot the breeze, anyways. Everybody in that affected area, report to your garage or patio to bring phones so that we can listen to the show. Thank you. Exactly. The naders, is that what you're calling them? Naders, tornadoes? I got it. Okay. It's kind of like wondering, what do you mean naders? I thought it was like some sort of potato casserole where you can have, anybody want some naders? What kind do you want? You want, you want fried naders or whatever. So naders. I never heard that for tornadoes before. So what was I going to say? Oh, okay. How do I say this? Sarge, you guys are making this difficult. This really is pretty easy. Literally, you could just, lead and just do leading stuff, and you're good to go. Those are taters, okay? So taters, gotcha. So taters and naders. Almost sound like the Raiders. So you want to eat some tater chips watching the naders coming, watching the Raiders game. There you go. How about that? We've been making some really interesting screenshots lately, and I just thought, you know what, let's just cover that a little bit, and then we'll cover a couple of screenshots. But what's going on? What is going on? Check comms. What's wrong with my comms? What does that mean? Oh, gotcha. Okay. Everyone's like, check comes, gotcha. Ah, okay, yeah, all right. Well, let me see. We'll see. Somebody just sent me some. So is it okay if I post the post right here? So here's what we're looking at for Fort Hood. There we go. Let me straighten that up a little bit for that. There you go. Gotcha. Okay. So that's the tornado warning right now happening. The Las Vegas faders. Ha ha ha. Thank you. Those are the areas affected. As you can see, Fort Hood is right there, dead center in the orange. So there you go. It's pretty easy. Comms are low, little volume on my end. Well, I might want to adjust your sound again. Some of these are listened to better, either headphones or some speakers or some sound system. But there you go. There's your. Damn, that looks pretty freaking. That looks crazy, dude. The naders with angry ice cubes. Yeah. Anyways, going back what I was saying about the what's been going on lately on the timeline, U.S. Army WTF moments, and it's kind of like, is everybody, Sergeant leaders, are you okay? Is there something wrong lately that we have these crazy ass requirements? I don't know. I mean, again, Radar talked about this too, about it being the low end on the. Since the GWAT's been done, it just seems like we're just going this garrison army mentality. It's just getting so fucking stupid. I almost feel like we should just go ahead and have another GWAT or have something going on so that way the bullshit stops. But even during the GWAT, we still had some bullshit. So let me just look at the screenshot right here. Team, as I walk the PPC in the MB1B, I am seeing relaxed leaders and soldiers, not saying we need to be uptight. We have soldiers wearing colored flags and unauthorized iPro. Why do I not want to see leaders and soldiers and leaders wearing Ray-Ban glasses and uniform? Wow, you know what? What if they're prescription? Someone says, "Oh, there's no such thing as prescription Ray-Bans." Oh, yours truly is wearing them right now. I'm wearing Ray-Bans right now. See, Ray-Bans. I'm not sponsored by Ray-Bans. I'm just saying those are my shades. And then let's see. Also seeing soldiers and leaders crap hang outside their assault packs and full-size pillows. No exceptions. Please fix it. Shouldn't take a brigade command team to identify and correct these issues. No soldier will get on a plane with a colored patch or a large pillow. God forbid comfort items. The way I see it, if you can hump it, you can carry it. There you go. And if you lose it and it falls off, that's it. I don't know little things hanging across assault packs and stuff like that. I'm not used to seeing that stuff, but whatever unit's deploying that has that type of accoutrement hanging from their gear, then I would say then maybe you probably should, kind of check it. But a pillow? I mean, you can't just stuff in the pillow. Who cares? What if it's their pillow, a colored pillow? What if it's their waifu pillow? What if it's the weebs or whatever you want to call it? So I'm just looking at some of the stuff right here. We don't even know what in the hell is going on. Someone says this is the CSM's war on pillow continues. I don't get it, man. You see, there's another screenshot in here that I thought was pretty messed up. And this is a call out, by the way, to an organization. We haven't done a call out. Well, actually, I should take that back. We've done call outs. We do call outs now. We're doing more call outs. But this is from the 11th Airborne Division, 1st BCT. So, as first sergeant to limiting, soldiers from being taken to their appointments, and this is how soldiers end up purchasing a vehicle they can't afford, much less afford to maintain. If it's all they can manage in Alaska. So considering the first sergeant seems to know, threaten people with paperwork, maybe they should reevaluate their definition of leadership. Now, the last time my first sergeant got called out on U.S. Army WTF moments, it was pretty funny. So we'll just go ahead and we'll just post that up right now. I'll just show you the screenshot here. It is prescribed exactly that an FM 7-22 section on napping. That's right. Thanks, Patrick. You're right. So per first part, moving forward, no soldier will take another soldier to any kind of appointment. If you do not have a vehicle, you will utilize the free shuttle. If it's off post, you will call an Uber. No. Here we go. Here's another one. Now, all vehicles will be winterized before snow happens. If you are late and not a specific spot due to weather or vehicle issues, you are considered FTR. Is the Uber paying for that? Is the unit paying for that Uber? I don't know. Dark eye pro is officially banned. Clear eye pro is only from this point forward. Those who need those with glasses need to have clear inserts for their eye pro. If you do not have this prior to the field, there will be paperwork. There will be paperwork. There will be paperwork. I don't get it. Now, some of us that have been stationed overseas, if you guys don't know, Alaska is considered an OCONUS assignment. Just like Germany, just like Hawaii, it's considered OCONUS. So there's different requirements that happen for OCONUS. I remember being stationed in Europe. I had a good sponsor, showed up. Hey, you need to get a hoopty. Here's where you get a hoopty. He took me to the lemon lot, by the way. And if you need a ride, let me know. Blah, 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 blah. Then here you go. And that's it. The same thing for Alaska. Soldier shows up and they could be flying in. They go, God forbid, they're driving. I know some soldiers. I got a buddy of mine who's PCSing right now. He's driving there. I'm like, holy shit. And it's kind of hard when you're in an overseas assignment to not have any wheels because your POV's on the way, or you're Joe, you don't have a vehicle. So the right thing to do, otra vez con this right thing to do thing that we like to talk about, the right thing to do would be to ensure that the soldier has transportation, right? Specifically if that soldier has a squad leader, a team leader, or whatever. I don't get it. I don't understand why that portion of it, especially if it's your soldier, if it's your Joe, and you're a sergeant and you're a squad leader, a platoon sergeant, that's your thing. That's kind of like your job. You're supposed to be taking care of your troops that way. The impression of the organization is how that first impression. You will not be handling appointments unless you have a vehicle to do this. Now we're not talking about we're being stationed at Fort Hood or being stationed at Fort Bragg, like a Bragg, or Fort Benning, or Fort Stewart, or Fort Carson, or Fort Sill, where, having a POV is kind of easy and all that. But in a no-CONUS environment, it's different. Appointments have to happen. Appointments need to have the soldier there. And if the soldier misses the appointment because they couldn't get a fucking ride because the first sergeant doesn't want to let the NCOs be NCOs, what is he planning on doing with all those soldiers there, by the way? If you're not going to allow your privates, your junior enlisted soldiers, your troops, to go to their appointments or go do what they need to do while they're arriving into country, I should say, arriving to the state, because they're technically, Alaska is the country, is our country. Well, it's still U.S. Then you would think that you would be allowed to go, I don't know, hey, first sergeant, I'm going to take my soldier to an appointment. No, you can't. That soldier's fucked. Have him take a shuttle. Wait. What? Again, the GWAT. I don't recall the bullshit happening. There was some bullshit that happened. There was some bullshit that was happening, don't get me wrong, during the GWAT. Yeah, exactly that, Josiah. Back at blank base name. Don't get me started on Liberty. Don't get me started on Liberty. There's some cheese men going out there. Some rumors about Liberty that I'm trying to confirm, and if it's the case, straight bitches. I mean, when I say bitches, I don't mean like in that, the term of a group of bitches. I'm just talking about, bitches like not being, being whiny, being crybaby. Other people would call that woke, I guess. I don't know, because that's a term that keeps going back and forth on just what exactly whiny is or whatever. So I'll just say they're being a bunch of bitches. You could say that. There's another story. I'm just blown away. So again, for sergeants, leaders, troops, if you have a soldier that has just arrived and they need to get to their appointment, their sponsor or their first line supervisor, that should be handled within the shop. If you're getting that down in the weeds of your platoon to know what's going on, your soldiers better do this. That's an issue. That's a good point, Heather. It's a good point. That's a good point. I needed to leave early to catch the shuttle, but I don't know exactly when I'll be back due to the shuttle schedule. Sorry, soldier, you can't do that. Sorry, you can't. You're going to get busted. There will be paperwork. Und there will be paperwork. Oh, man. You ready for the next one? Here's another one. Again, this is your army. This is your formation. So there we go. That screenshot. I need everybody to be a little bit more proactive in reading the messages I push out. I was told that to be animated when I read these because sometimes it provides a little comedic value, but I'm just picturing how they would say that. Not only I push out, not only understanding the information, but relaying to your soldiers. There really is no need for roles when I constantly have to brief your other NCOs or soldiers. It's getting old. It's also not the admin section's job to be asking where your soldiers are. With that being said, Thursday and Friday we'll be holding a formation every 2 hours until COB. God, every 2 hours, man. What is this, the academy? What is this, an NCO academy? Drill Sergeant Academy? This is some straight schoolhouse shit. We would hold. It's almost like that first sergeant from the 11th Airborne Division. Yeah, I don't know, David. Do we have I'm looking for Mr. Chocolate, my man, up in there, so that way he can come in. But look at that. Tuesdays and Thursdays. I need everyone to be a little bit proactive in reading the messages I push out, and not only understanding the information, but relaying to your soldiers. Damn. Cause I'm going to say, that's a good point. Imagine for a moment actually doing your job every day. And, I kind of think about this too. I look at this as a readiness issue, specifically for, I don't know, the why hold the soldiers, NCOs accountable for not disseminating information when you could just do this? Seems logical. Yeah. It's almost a readiness issue. If these guys are going to formation all the freaking time, then that's it. Appreciate the backhanded acknowledgement. I just admit it. Yes, Bailey. That I saw the comment in there about you saying it sounds like a German and yada yada yada. That's the example that I use. There you go. The civilian sector has drawbacks, but nothing like this BS. Exactly that. Exactly that. Oh wait, there's more. Here's another one. This is from the Lamentations of a Team. Now, mind you, I am not, like I said, this is the shit that we're not making up. Let me adjust the screen there. There you go. I'm such an important cog in the machine. I'm such a fine time leader that took away all the time. That they took away all but one soldier in order for not to burden my tactical mind. I'm so mission critical that I need to be at work to help with tasks. And in fact, I'm too mission critical to get sent to classes or the German marksmanship they did today. Wow. So he got to stay back while his leaders got to go to the German march. What is it? It must be a German theme tonight, right? Oh man, we got Bailey in the comments, then uns, I have uns, and then we have the first sergeant must be baby walk. Sorry. I spent hours today guarding the limits of my post, the cough, and quitting my post only when properly relieved. Never. Personally, I love the 24/7 work text because I am a soldier 24/7. The army widening my butthole. Now I quote, this is on the screen there. I'm not, I've been divorced a few times, so I know what it's like to have a wide, never mind. That's a whole nother, anyways, another ball of wax. The army widening my butthole is really making me more technically and tactically proficient. To be honest, because in an emergency, my butthole could double as a landing zone when we're in austere environments. Praise, we kill tanks. Yeah, exactly that, Josiah. 99999. Once you cannot go to the marksmanship badge. This is, oh my God, this, woo. Und do we have more? It sounds like Hogan's Heroes, exactly. Oh my God. Do we have wir haben mehr here. I should just break off into German and just start. Let's go to the next one. Oh man. Hang on, let me look at another one here. Let me see. There's one of them that was like freaking promote ahead of peers. Yeah, exactly that. Maybe he was so shitty as a soldier that his leaders saw no point in trying to train the untrainable, but they think he just put him out the way. It was just, nah, you're good. Well, promote ahead of peers, Cause says. I didn't detect any grammatical errors or see any spelling mistakes. You ain't lying. That's all right, Johnny. The Schützenschnur. The Schützenschnur, which is the German badge, the German marksmanship badge that you wear, silver, gold, silver, or bronze, and it's that other thing, that other cord that goes on your pip. Yeah, mehr Deutsch. Yeah, hang on. Let me see. There's another one. Oh, these get better. Oh, now here's the one. Here's the one that got posted right after the Monday edition. So it's kind of like, well, actually during the Monday edition, I didn't really catch it. But here's one that you guys are really gonna fucking love. Now y'all understand that we just had the parental leave guidance that just happened. You all remember that? Everyone, you know, everyone's all about the babies. Please produce more babies, more babies. There are things that have been passed within Congress. There are policies that have been written within the DoD that are supposed to be given to the services, and the service components will handle their own specific policies on it. We were the last ones. When I say we, I act like I'm still in. The Army was the last one to publish. However, I'll give them credit. They did a pretty good job ensuring that the last general, or the first general in the chain of command, which generally will be. Sorry, I had coffee today. Had a good day with Baby Ice. Me and him got in some arguments, and it was funny because he's talking a little bit more, and oh my God, it's hilarious. It's more. Remember that recording I did of him imitating Arnold and Dylan, and then Dave Chappelle? It's even funnier. So I didn't catch it. So I don't want to say I would purposely want to make my kid melt down so he can cuss at me so I can record it to play for you guys for your entertainment. But anyways, it's funny. But anyways, the policy changes I think are good, to include like lactating moms. I mean, dude, it's just so much better. I honestly think that the way the policies are written, common sense would tell you that if the policy says the general in the first chain of command, otra vez, in chain of command would mean probably a 2-star, not the XO, not the DCO. It can't be delegated down, but the first general in the chain of command. So that's a 2-star. We got 10 divisions in the Army, so there you go. Just bam. And then you have specific commands that have brigade separates. So basically, if you're assigned to a brigade separate, like, oh, I don't know, pick a brigade. 504th MI Brigade. 12th Aviation Brigade. Those aviation organizations are staffed or commanded by a colonel that is also a brigade separate. So that brigade separate would be that the first general in the chain of command would be a 3-star. A 3-star. No delegation, no nothing. Well, let me show you this. Bam. What's the cult thing about? Oh, murder cult? Yeah, it's a long story, Branko. My chats are like fucking like coming in really slow. I don't know what's going on. I have to refresh probably. Update the XO board for shoot, move, communicate. Yeah, okay. 90900 J list draw. Yep, okay. A dedeployment roster for the field for first aren't. Oh, okay. Right, no big D. No big D. There we go. New Mal. Yep. Take shit to the armament today. Blah, 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 blah. And then a square away packing list stuff. However, if you look in the middle bullet, the middle comment right there. Let me highlight that just a tad bit bigger there for you. Let me make it bigger. Anyone on baby leave or being recalled to go to STX and whoa. You ever calling troops back while they're on baby leave? Everybody says, "Oh yeah, whatever. Oh, it's not a big deal." You know, when I got this, when I had a kid, I don't know, man. I'd kick a soldier out of the organization to go on leave, and then I don't want to see that individual ever again. If you can't command or you can't organize anything for your organization to do, I don't know, training, STX, CalFX, whatever, and you're depending on that one person, that single point of failure is your failure as well, because you made it that way. Anyone on baby leave are being recalled to go to the STX or CalFX. These spelling mistakes are making my butthole itch. But is it widening cause? Is it widening the butthole? We have to know. Is it widening? Recall those on baby leave. It's almost like, yeah, some of the comments in there, I'm just reading in there. Active duty problems, yeah, whatever. Tripping about baby leave, yeah, whatever, dude. At this point, somebody says, at this point, I feel 99% of this shit gets made up for laughs. Guess what? It doesn't. They're really going to cancel you? You're really going to pull you from baby leave, huh? You're going to talk to that division commander? Fuck your family? Yep. The secretary needs not a secretary better. But that OER has to have proof of, yeah, man, you ain't lying, dude. There was a specific requirement back in the day. I won't bore you with doctrine shit, but there's a specific requirement that is used to say, in order for you to be graded, really just waiting the weather out so I can continue my drive home. Oh, love y'all. Well, thanks, Maggie. Well, thank you for joining us and hanging out. I really think, again, like I said, we need something to keep us busy. We're not doing this right. We're not doing this right at all. Spanky's, yeah, exactly that. Spanky's are, yeah, exactly that. Spanky's like Moff Gideon. Know this. I know. Assume that I know everything. That was one of the quotes from The Mandalorian. Your astute observation. What was it? Your astute panic means that you know, something like that. He's got some Moff Gideon. I love Moff Gideon. Giancarlo Esposito is an awesome actor. We're trying to get him on Pop Culture Warrior. But if Russia hacks teams, how will we operate? Exactly that. No more flying cows in the training area. Just ended there. Okay, so let's go to Fort Carson, Colorado, in the 4th Infantry Division. Pew pew. So. There's not many DFACs that are open on some installations. And sometimes there's only one DFAC open during the weekends for an entire installation. You remember that first sergeant that we said, that first sergeant in Alaska that was talking about if you take your soldiers to Chow? What about taking your soldiers to Chow? Does that apply to, by the way, since we're talking about appointments? So the DFAC at Fort Carson decided that since there was no head count of detail, they will not feed the soldiers. They will not open the door for soldiers to do this. If there's only one, it's the only one open on the DFAC. Of course, we'll send them the mail. We're like, what are you talking about? You're just lying. Now, everyone's talking about the rigs. There is some sort of cook rig, and I need to see this rig. I've heard about this legendary rig before, but I've never seen it. No one's ever provided it to me. So Saturday and Sunday, all the other DFACs are closed. You can see right there in the middle. And then Stack DFAC is the only one that's open. Give them BAS. Yeah, exactly that. Well, they're calling them warrior restaurants. Yeah, exactly. They're called warrior restaurants now. That means a warrior restaurants should be open every day, right? Don't they have like split rats or something like that? Like have midnights? I don't know, but some DFACs are just run right, and some DFACs just like this. So there was I guess somebody was saying there was some sort of a standard where a cook can't pull head count. Which basically, if you guys, for you those that are the foreign audiences listening right now, head count is somebody sitting at the table taking the soldier's money or writing down the soldier's information so that way they can go inside to be authorized to eat. It has to come from the unit. It can't come from the cooking staff. So there's some policy out there. There's some reg. I gotta do some research, man. Somebody's like throwing this. You know, there's you can't do DFAC. You can't pull head count. You can't do this, cooks, because there's a conflict of interest of handling money. Now, I was a Joe long time ago. And I seem to recall after I provided, how do you even say that? How do you say that you did head count? Hey, I gave head count. No, I did. I mean, because we used to joke around in the platoon. Hey, I got to go give head count. Because nobody liked doing the detail. Because if you were stuck on head count for the day, you had to wake up earlier so that way you can, get all the money, get the money box and get it all out and show ID and all that stuff. So we used to just laugh that we used to just joke around. Hey, I'm going to go give head count. So you would pull head count. And I remember getting the box. It's got some money in there. And I start doing head count also. But then I handle the money. And then once that's done, I give the money back. And I give back to the cooks, the NCOIC. So how is that a conflict of interest? Is it the transaction itself? Somebody said that this is a perfect job for NCOs that are on road status, which means retired on active duty. So I don't know. I don't understand how come the cooks didn't go out and again. I got to find out. Maybe we should. I didn't know. I do have some quartermaster friends. I got quartermaster buddies. They could probably fill me in on the what is the stupid reg about a conflict of interest that a KP has to be the one that does it. Why can't the cooks give head count? Yes, I'm saying that on purpose. Why can't the cooks pull head count, pull that duty? They asked us for KP. Again, it's one of those anomalies where I just can't. I don't. Oh, excuse me. You know what today is, right? Today is Thursday. So when it's Thursday, me and Baby Eyes head out and grab the chow. Anyways, so again, I'm trying to find once I find out what's up with this head count crap, then I'll find out, because I don't want anything fabulous in SFAB. Well, let's see. Currently, right now, the 5th SFABs, I don't know, I think there's an investigation going on at 5th SFAB, and that's over at JBLM. The Benning SFAB, 1st SFAB, I think I got a couple of them going on right now. What's the one at Hood? There's one at Hood, and there's one in Bragg. So there's currently right now, from what we're seeing, and we're waiting for a more positive confirmation. But streets are saying, I don't want to sound like the smoke pit, but I think every SFAB has an investigation going on. Pretty fucking fabulous. It's time for the SFAB. CV contractors, what about a turnstile at the interest store to defect to scan your CAC? You know what they do? They do that at Bragg. They do that at Fort Bragg. And some defects. I know, Tribe Cafe, the Tribe Warrior restaurant. My buddy, my classmate, Jason Towns, CSM Jason Towns, we went over there and got some chow. That's how they do it. They it's like so there's no issues with that. It was pretty tight ship there. It was pretty good to get some grub. Good grub too. Oh my God, I couldn't complain. But anyways, Becca Bragg. That was Becca Bragg. Now, okay. I think this is the last one before we talk about another thing, but this is the last screenshot. I know this is a conversation that some people don't like talking about, but it's better just to get it off your chest and talk about it. And just, sometimes it's better just to talk. Let's look at this right here. Is it reasonable to leave your husband over video games? Is it better to leave your husband over video games? boy. The comments in here were awesome. I do like the comments in here because the arguments going back and forth saying everyone is assuming it's because the husband is playing too much. Could be the wife. But I just wanted to give a shout. I think that's like the first Army Wives post. Is it reasonable to leave your wife if she doesn't? You know, a couple that calls Call of Duties together or Gears of War together stays together. Generally, there's a lot of trash talking. I think it's a lot of interweaving of hobbies and stuff like that actually spice up the relationship. But don't talk to me. I'm pretty bad at giving relationship advice. But I'm just saying, I don't know. It's an observation. Cause says, yeah, better than Air Force Chow. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was better than Air Force Chow. I did have to pick up my own plate though when this happened. So let's see. All right, what's the last thing we're gonna talk about? I gotta find it. Yeah, I gotta find it here. Where is it at? Cooks are too busy ordering turkeys for their side gig catering. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that's tough. Hang on, let me see. Let's see. I'm trying to look at this, and once I find out, once we get a verification, and this is from one of the reporters from the Army Times, and I just want to verify this because I'm gonna kind of like comments this shit. So everybody knows it's going back and forth with the name of Liberty, right? Fort Bragg being Fort Liberty and Liberty of this and Liberty of that. There was rumors that the naming commission, from naming it from Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty, that there was some sort of conflict, there was some sort of drama going on between the 82nd or the 18th Airborne Corps guys, and I'm paraphrasing by the way, and USASOC, because they were trying to figure out who was going to be the better, like what was going to be. So they're not calling it. And this was at the Georgetown University Center for Security Studies conference. And it points out that one of the reasons why we ended up with Fort Liberty is that USASOC and the 82nd Airborne Division couldn't stomach Bragg being named after someone from the other community. Everybody knows that the father of airborne and the father of airborne operations, that should be it. Bragg, Fort, that's it. That's the Bragg. Supposedly that's the reason why. It's the reason why is that there was drama between that. The reason why they settled with Liberty is because USASOC and 82nd were fighting amongst themselves on who are they going to name it for. Now, of course, me and Spanky, we did have our show where we talked about the different names of the posts. We had General Gavin, General Ridgway, Fort Ridgway, Fort Gavin. We also had Fort Benavidez was kicked up there too, due to the fact that Master Sergeant Roy Benavidez, Medal of Honor winner. Now, again, the whole thing was to change this to include individuals of color and be more inclusive, to remove the names of Confederate generals or Confederate leaders that they've been named after. So everyone would have thought, oh, okay, cool. It would have been pretty good with having Benavidez or Gavin or whatever. So once we get that confirmed, we're gonna totally blast. We're gonna totally blast this. Let's see. I think we got a couple more minutes before Natalia shows up. And then there's one story that'll get you. Got Fort Cash. Yeah, Fort Cash. That was the name that me and Spanky almost got in trouble because we were gonna put a sign at Fort Benning, because me and Spanky travel a lot sometimes and go do hangouts and stuff like that. And we were gonna get a sign and we were gonna hang it over the Fort Benning sign, and was gonna be Fort all one cash. We were gonna like do a duplicate freaking banner to look like the sign, and then it was gonna be the General Sherman Maneuver Center of Excellence. So that's what we're gonna do for Fort Benning. That's what we were trying to do for Fort Benning, but people got butthurt about that. So what's the last story here? Let me see the last thing before we start talking, because once we start rapping about Ukraine. Okay, so the story is developing right now. Yeah, it was going to be the General Sherman Maneuver Center of Excellence is what we're going to name. I think, as a matter of fact, let me see. Do I got the freaking? Yeah, here we go. I'll do that. I'll show you. I'll show you, Kaz. I'll show you. Because, you know, me and Spanky are up to no good, and people find out what we're up to, and there we get, you know, be on the lookout. You'll get kicked out of post. You'll never come on bending again. We're like, okay, Professor Chaos, bringer of destruction and doom. I see what you did there, Kaz. That would be fire. So this was going to the name. Now, let's be honest. Some of the Fort D's nuts. These names that you see that we're just joking around, Spanky, you know, me and Spanky did, you know, provide names to the naming commission, and we provided ideas and concept. It always looks better when you see it on a picture. I think it has a bigger impact when you see the picture and you see it right there. Fort Alwyn Cache, home of the General Sherman's Maneuver Center of Excellence. I don't know why everyone gets all upset about General Sherman. Don't be a bad guy. Fort Campbell should be Fort Jimmy Hendrix. Oh yeah, you ain't lying, Dr. Ed. That'd be some good one. So real quick, and then we'll take a break. Last story. There's currently right now on Russia television. We're going to talk about this a little bit too, anyways. Once Natalia comes on, but there's a former U.S. mercenary who spied on this piece of shit. Who spied on a former Army PFC, David McIntyre, who served with the 1st Armored Division, only like 2 years and shit, was defected to Russia after collecting intelligence on the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. Buddy, I'm gonna tell you right now. Everybody knows when I say JPITL, that's a term for a joint prioritized task list, targeting list. I'm sorry, not task list. Joint priority. I know people like to change different names because they don't want it to sound mean. Joint prioritized targeting list. You know what that means? That means the Ginsu knife is gonna be coming at you, buddy. If you're fucking outside the borders of Russia. You traitor piece of shit. Defected to Russia. Nobody defects to Russia handing information. You don't do that. So now he's talking about CIA involvement. He's dropping names. He's provided them whatever. So one thing I remember these days, yeah, the naming basis was an act of reconciliation after the Civil War. Correct. So I think some of it was. I got to call. I got a historian guest that I'm trying to get on here because we could talk about the base of renaming stuff because that's a hot topic issue with that stuff. I personally, like I said, I don't care. It's whatever. So, anyways, I bet he was captured to save his ass. You know the video. You know he was interviewed, Doc, and he did talk about that. So, anyways, we're gonna take a break right quick so that way I can get Natalia on the horn and get her set up to go. And we'll be right back. So everyone, refill your glasses, hit the latrine, hit the head, and shots.
What is this Facebook Live? I've never heard of this shit.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
Nothing feels the same. Left it all behind.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Я батько. Я молодший брат.
Я водій маршрутки. Я скоро одружуся. Я фанат шахтера.
Начальник отдела продаж.
Я прораб.
Я программист. Я свидетель на свадьбе.
Борщица. Дядя Юра, таксист.
Я вчитель фізкультури.
Я студент-геолог.
У мене своя фірма.
Я кращий друг зі школи. Я сусід, який завжди стукає по батареї.
Я єдиний син.
Oh shit! And we're back. Now you can hear me. I'm back. Me and Natalia have been talking already, shooting the breeze. I want to welcome our guest, Natalia Antonova. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me again.
Oh man, this is so awesome. The last time we had you on was, holy crap, it was a year ago exactly. And you, well, first off, you being a Ukrainian American, an international woman of mystery, OSINT expert. And you don't do dumb. I appreciate that. You pretty much predicted. The last time we had a conversation, we were like, you were line by line on what happened with the invasion.
I predicted it all. Nobody wanted to listen to me, and then everything that I said would happen has happened. So. You all are welcome.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing that I remember was when you were talking about, I remember when it was, because it was 21 February, and we were talking about the border posturing, and you said all it's going to do, it's just going to be a real quick move, and no shit, immediately it just like the from that podcast up, I'd say maybe 72 hours. It was just fucking hell.
Yeah. And I've been, we've all been like people in Ukraine, people in the diaspora. We've been living in hell for a year now. So thanks, Russia. Cool. Very cool. Vladimir Putin.
Yeah. Fuck off, Putin. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, real quick, tell us, and there's some people that have not been here a year. So tell us about yourself.
Let's see. Well, I'm Ukrainian American. I was born in Kyiv in Ukraine. I moved to North Carolina when I was a little girl, and I am a journalist and OSINT expert. I spent 7 hellish years in Moscow. While they were hellish, they did teach me a lot about Russia and the government there, and I kind of actually was there for a big part of it as it slid towards full-on murderous fascism. And I have thankfully been home for the last 5 years. So I currently live in Virginia, not far from Washington, D.C. And I have a Substack where I talk about Russia and OSINT and online detective games that you can play and other, I guess, cool, fun stuff. Like I recently just did sometimes I take breaks from the war. I have to take breaks from the war, just mental health breaks from covering the war. So I just did a piece recently about how bad it is when 3-letter agency people put everything out on LinkedIn, for example. And I did that with James Griffin. He's an awesome OSINT person, another great person you guys should probably follow on Twitter. He's at Twitter as like at Spawn of Khan. So if you know that movie, the Star Trek movie with Khan. Yep. So Spawn of Khan, that's the guy. And we just did a piece together about, how if you're in the CIA or, or whatever, you probably should be careful with your LinkedIn.
Right.
That's it. Careful with LinkedIn. Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Careful with LinkedIn. No, I posted the link in all of our chats. So.
Oh, good.
Everybody from the gaming nerds to YouTube to the 2 Facebook pages, we got it. It's in there.
It's good because the Substack allows me to be informal because a lot of what I do is really formal. But on my Substack, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to use the words that I need to use to tell you all to do what you do. So
right,
that's me.
You also provide, insight to other news organizations and other government agencies too. Any updates? I know I just want to jump right in it because I remember we were talking about this before. I mean, you and I practically talk just about every day. So,
we're lucky.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But my biggest thing is that is the insight. What is it? What's going on right? I know, because we use every Monday we broadcast or we talk about the Kyiv Independent. And so I love that. That's a great resource for English speaking. For those of you that don't know it's Kyiv Independent, and you just go on there and you get all the information you need. They provide at least, we always do like a 3-hour update. So from then, since the last time we spoke to now, what's it looking like there?
You mean in terms of like just the war?
Correct.
Well, I think that what we're seeing is that Russia has been doing a counteroffensive for some time, right? Everybody's like, "What is it coming? Is it coming?" It's been happening for a while. That's their counteroffensive. Their idea of a counteroffensive is just throwing a lot of people who are expendable at Ukrainians. So, it's a very barbaric counteroffensive that Russia is trying to forge right now. I believe very soon, it's calendar spring already. We're probably going to see some moves on part of Ukrainians. I'm not sure. The big city in the news, the city that's in the news is Bakhmut. Obviously, Bakhmut. That's where Russia does not want to let it go. The Ukrainians have been doing a really good job of like bleeding the Russians out in Bakhmut. There are signs that maybe the city will be abandoned, and then it'll basically be handing like a really empty victory to the Russians. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether actually Ukrainians will be able to abandon Bakhmut without political repercussions. So we're just gonna have to see. You know me. Like, I don't like to make predictions, because when I make predictions, whatever I say, the most pessimistic thing I say,
it fucking happened, right? That's what I'm saying. Because you were like, when we were talking about this shit afterwards, and then it literally was like to the minute. I'm like, holy crap! I'm gonna have Natalia play the fucking lotto for me, because holy shit, you were like pretty dead on point. Most of I got the Kyiv Independence graph that I love their graph that they throw up. This is as of today. To be confirmed, over 150,000 soldiers. Have the Russian people? Are they just like, yep, fuck it, let's keep going? What's their sentiment about this?
Based on what we can find. So basically, like, a lot of times we've seen this with NBC. I mean, God knows I don't want to like slag anyone off of the NBC, but literally they went to Crimea and like did a vox pop on the streets, which is like not something you can do. A vox pop on the streets of Russia. You can't just like stick a microphone in a Russian's face and be like, "What do you think about this war?" They're never going to tell you the truth because they're scared. People are scared. People have been getting prosecuted in Russia for like the randomest crap. Like, since this war started, it's not safe to talk about your feelings about the war in Russia. Like, even your feelings. You don't even have to state any facts. You can just be like, "Oh, well, I don't like this." And someone might report, we've been seeing reports of like kids, school children being ratted out in parent groups and having the police crack down on parents whose kids in like middle school are coming to school with questions about the war. So it's like a really bad situation. People are genuinely scared in Russia for the most part to speak out. So I think generally speaking, there is quite a bit of fear, and I don't think that there is momentum in Russian society to really kind of band together and be like, what are these boys dying for, right?
Right,
because
right.
These losses, even as a conservative estimate, this is crazy. When the Soviets lost, in Afghanistan, it was like, what, 15,000?
About that, yeah.
This is crazy. And I think that we're going to see impact from this, and I think that we're going to see repercussions from this, but I think it's going to be delayed. I think there is a delayed reaction. It's kind of like, imagine like a chicken, one of those like chickens when the head gets lopped off, right? But the chicken is still running around for a few seconds. That's the analogy I would use with Russia right now. The chicken's head has been lopped off and it's running around. So there is going to be fallout, but it's delayed.
Right.
Because that society, it's so like, it's such a messed up, sick society on so many levels, and I could spend the entire evening talking to you about that.
We got plenty of time. Go for it. No, it was one of the things I was going to ask you next. Is that about the sentiment about, because we got, we have a couple of questions already, and that do the Russian people actually have a choice in this matter?
There are choices when it comes to like not serving in this war. There are absolutely choices you can make. Like even like in terms of people have left. Nobody's preventing people from leaving.
Right.
They're not closing the borders, not yet anyway. Also, in terms of like actually getting called up, like there's plenty of ways for people to resist just getting called up. The most, like the harshest punishment you can face is going to jail for maybe a couple of years. That's the maximum. It's still much safer than ending up in a trench in Bakhmut. You know what I mean?
Right.
So people do have choice, but the problem is that like even when you legally have a choice, if you don't know that you have that choice, you're not going to exercise it.
It's exactly that. Yeah, it's almost like somebody, another comment there, just like when the communists took over, they are the same people suffering the same spineless symptoms. Because that's another thing too. To go back to the societal stuff, is Americans don't realize how much Russia hates us. I don't. I mean, I was sitting there. I'm perplexed to see it, or to read comments from individuals that, like I said, I grew up in the Red Dawn generation. I grew up, Ivan, we're gonna go fuck you up. Rocky IV, fucking Red Dawn, Rambo 3. We all of a sudden it just, I don't know. Why is it important to teach them, like we said before, this fucking lesson? Well, they don't like us. So what are we missing here?
They don't. And I think that, because the United States, we won the Cold War. And as such, like there is such a thing as a sore loser, but there's no such thing as a sore winner. Like, I feel like it's kind of like we've always acted towards Russia the way like you would act if you're like a big guy in a bar and some tiny dude walks over to you and starts talking shit. And like, if you're gonna like punch him out in front of your friends, you're gonna look like real bad, right?
Right,
like
exactly.
It doesn't make sense. So we've always acted really magnanimously, I think, towards the Russians in many ways. We don't take the threat seriously. But unfortunately, like, and I can say this as a Ukrainian American who spent 7 terrible years in Russia, I can tell you that, like, if when they realize you were born in Ukraine, they can, like be dismissive, or there's some ethnic hatred that comes up or whatever, like back in those days. And I was there from 2010 to 2017, so fairly recently. But when they realize you're American, it's like, holy shit. And the thing is that they just really, and it's not just me, like if it was just like my life, whatever, fine, I might irritate some people. I do irritate quite a bit of people.
We have had our share of
But honestly, like in terms of like the overwhelming majority of Russians, unfortunately, just looks at Americans as like kind of like, with Ukrainians, there's like this, like the people next door, that you hate because you can't conquer them, or you're always trying to conquer them, but you can't trust them. There's this one type of hate. With Americans, it's almost on this like metaphysical, esoteric level, where Americans just remind the average Russian of like all of their insecurities about their political system, about their history, about everything. Because I feel like Russians see themselves in Americans in many ways. Russians identify with Americans in many ways. You can go to a podunk village in Russia and as I've done, and people there will like, they're gonna know Bob Dylan. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So
and they drive around American vehicles too. I've seen videos, and I've seen some screen grabs of some of the propaganda or Russian RT newscasts, and you see Cadillacs, you see Chevys, and you're like, what the fuck? For somebody for a nation that hates us, well, they want to beat us. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's why they hate us. You know what it is like. Do you remember how like, if you ever read any like stories or like watched any true crime podcasts or listened to any true crime podcasts?
I love it. Yep, I love it. Yep.
Like, how do serial killers start out, right? Serial killers are always people with the profound insecurity. These are the most dangerous people alive because they're insecure and they're trying to make up for stuff. And Americans trigger such horrific insecurity in Russians that it plays out on the world stage, and people literally die. They die because Russians feel insecure around Americans.
Well,
and I just don't think we realize that as a country. We're not worried about them.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing. I want the audience to understand that they really are playing some of their English speaking propaganda to divide, like, oh, well, Ukraine is part of Russia, or Ukraine this, and going back to our conversation a year ago, Putin's goal is to reunify the good old boy network like he used to have it. He wants to bring back the empire, and so, I mean, like you said, we won the fucking Cold War. I just think that some of the myths that everyone talks about, Ukraine and Russia are the same people, and I was about to say no, they're not. I remember when I asked you that about that question, man. You were like, they're not. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'm not imitating you like that on purpose, but you were fucking you like lit in. We're like, okay, yeah. So what's the difference then? What's the
Well, so basically, think about it this way. There's Moscow, right? The capital of Russia, and Kiev is the capital of Ukraine. Technically, what we know as Russia, modern day Russia, actually started in Kiev. The Kievan Rus that was born in Kiev. Kiev is a much more ancient city than Moscow. It's much more cultured in many ways, by the way, too, which Muscovites can hate me for saying it, but you know what? I don't give a shit. So here's the thing, like, Ukraine traditionally, and I could go through like thousands of years of history here, but what it boils down to is that without Ukraine, Russia would not exist. And a lot of the Russian traditions and a lot of Russian identity kind of like stems from that period where, Ukraine had its own renaissance at the time, when Kiev was this legendary city, which it still is, by the way, which is why they were so obsessed with capturing it. And if you want to talk about differences, and again, I was raised in a family where like Russian was my first language. Ukrainian was my second, English is my third, right? But Russian was my first language. And my mother was born in Soviet Russia, just to, give you an example. So we've always, for hundreds of years, even before the Soviet Empire, we mixed, but at the same time, there was always that core identity that existed, especially in Ukraine, where people just tend to be, and again, Russians can hate me for saying this, but it's true. People are freer in Ukraine. In Ukraine, like, it's very normal to, like, get rid of your government if you don't like it. Ukrainian warlords traditionally, like, people will get together and be like, we're getting rid of our guy. Like, he's not serving our needs. Like, there's a whole history of it. If you look at Ukrainian history,
right,
for the specific areas of Ukraine, where Ukraine has always, it's a much more democratic place. It always has been in many ways. And I'm not saying it's ideal. Like, like Ukraine has its problems, obviously, like every country does. But in terms of the history, it is a very distinct, very freedom-loving, very rebellious culture, I would say. Like, one of the reasons, like, why do you see Ukrainians being so great on the battlefield? It's not an accident. There's an old joke. I don't know if I told you this joke, but it goes like this. It's, if you put two Ukrainians in a room, they will immediately form three political parties, right? Right? They will do that. But if you attack them, they'll become a family. That's what Ukrainians are like, like they're always bickering amongst themselves until an outside force comes along to try to screw them, and then they get super militant.
Sounds like very familiar, like us. I mean, we have so much info. I'm going to post a meme that that the State Department posted. As a matter of fact, when you and I were on air the following day, the embassy in Kyiv posted this meme.
And it's true. That's a historically accurate meme.
And it got everybody. I mean, everybody was raw, and it was. I remember, when you and I were talking about this. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. They feel. I'll say it. It's like fucking. It's like jealousy. It's almost like envy. It's almost like they. Of course, and me. You've seen the attacks go on me about me being a Ukraine stooge or what. I don't give a shit. But do you think that, and I was about to ask that question right there, causes on it. Do you think that Putin will get desperate and start going to other former satellite states, Soviet satellite states that were, I guess, under the USSR to say, hey, look, let's do some shit against Ukraine. Has he tried already besides Belarus? Because we're banned. Yeah, besides, because those two are like freaking, those two are dry humping each other left and right. So Are they? Do you know of anything? Has he tried any other states?
Well, I think they're trying to kind of destabilize Moldova quite a bit, right? I think that's what's going on. It's not really gonna. I don't think it's ultimately gonna work. I know that I think they tried to lean on Kazakhstan at one point. Kazakhstan is really not thrilled. Most of Central Asia is not thrilled. Ever since he took Crimea in 2014, every Central Asian leader, and again, they're mostly dictators over there. They have their own stuff going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
They have their own stuff going on. But when he took Crimea in 2014, every single leader in Central Asia got super nervous. Because when you're redrawing borders and leaning on history and being like, well, actually, I'm entitled to this land because of blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You can see how this plays out. You can see how this plays out in Central Asia. It's not good. So I don't think he has a lot of options there. I would be surprised if he managed to get any leverage. I mean, we'll see.
Right.
But I don't know. It's one of those questions that it depends on his luck. But I see most former Soviet countries being extremely worried, if not outright pissed off, that he's doing any of this. Do
you think he's gonna? You think he's gonna put? I know. Again, we've talked about your predictions, man. It's almost. I don't want to say it's like witchcraft or something like that. It's Natalia craft or some shit. But last time, man. So what about Finland? Do you think he's gonna push into Finland? Do you think he's gonna try to poke the bear? Or I shouldn't say poke the bear. He is the bear. But poke the other countries, like Finland.
No.
Do you think?
I mean, I think Finland drives them crazy. I think the fact that they have someone like Sanna Marin there in Finland, it always really upsets him when there's a powerful female in charge. It's not something he can handle. He doesn't handle that well at all. I mean, genuinely speaking, and we've seen this play out over and over again. I'm not just saying this, I've literally watched this man, the way he acted around Angela Merkel and whatever. He's got an MO. If it's a powerful woman in charge, it drives him nuts because he can't control her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's supposed to control his women because that's how he demonstrates to everyone that he's a man. It's by controlling women, around him. So I do think that Finland is definitely a huge thorn in his side. And I think they're going to try, they might do some psyop shit. They might do some zip zap shit, like as you say. But I think it's not going to really work because Finland, again, Finland kicked Russia's ass back in the day, right? We all remember that. We all remember that war. And Finland is completely they have that border with Russia. It's almost like in some ways Finland has been waiting for this. They are just super not big fans.
They're actually. I almost feel like they're chomping at the bit. I wish a motherfucker would. I think they're like, let's do it. Come on.
I think that with all of his forces so severely degraded at this point, the most he can do is some psyops shit in Finland, and I just do not think it's going to be successful.
Yeah,
I do think it bothers him,
yeah.
But lots of things bother him because he's a loser.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of it too is it's not come to fruition. He said all these big predictions for Ukraine. This is a special operation that was supposed to be lasting what, a couple of weeks or something like that, or
3 days. No, they said 3 days.
Yeah, exactly. I mean the COVID. What was that? The curve. We were waiting for the curve. It took longer with COVID than it did with his invasion. So the Lavrov has met with Blinken at the G20 summit. What do you think? What do you think Blinken said?
Oh, I think that, with our civil servants, especially people like Blinken, I just think it was kind of bless your heart type of situation. I mean, what else is Blinken going to say? And, the funny thing about Lavrov is that Lavrov was not warned that this invasion was taking place. He has not really been a real player since the annexation of Crimea, since 2014. Basically, since 2014, the Russian Foreign Ministry, which is actually staffed with some smart, interesting people, Maria Zakharova aside, their spokeswoman is literally trash. That woman is horrendous. If you guys ever want to have a great laugh, look up Maria Zakharova wedding pictures. If you want just the super imagine a white trash wedding, and not I'm not saying that in a classic poor versus rich style, but
right.
Somebody who has money but has no class. Maria Zakharova wedding pictures. Look that up and just cry, laugh, do whatever. It's horrendous.
Well, I just so happened, because I know we were going to rag on her. I got the pictures ready. We're talking about that one?
Yeah, I mean, that's not even the worst one. I mean, it's one of the... That's great. I mean, yeah, that is...
There's another one there. There you
go.
God. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. So that's
in New York.
Yeah. Celebrated. I think this was these pictures from when she did the wedding and stuff like that. It was like her 47th birthday or something like that. So there she is. There she is in all her.
Painful, dude.
Oh man, I've seen better wedding pictures from rednecks around the Columbus, Georgia area than.
No. There's so many. The rednecks can do it much better. At least at a redneck wedding you have fun. This doesn't look fun. This looks just painful.
It looks trashy. You're right. It does look trashy. I'm sorry. Sorry, audience. I got to subject it to you because I got to keep with the content. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you there, Natalia. I know.
No, I'm sorry I brought it up, but it's good that we did. Basically, aside from her, again, the Russian foreign ministry staff with some interesting people. Lavrov was always a really smart diplomat, but they've been sidelined since 2014. They don't make any decisions. They don't. So I'm sure whatever Blinken said to him, at least I hope for Blinken's sake, was, just extremely condescending and kind of like, well, Yuri, when are you finally going to kill your boss so we can all talk like normal people again?
Right.
I feel like if I was Blinken, that's what I would say. But when is he finally going to have a nice prearranged heart attack? And then we could just figure this out.
That's another thing too. People have asked about Putin's health. And I know we were ragging on. I'll be honest with you, by the way, U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio, we got banned in Belarus and Russia, by the way.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Because of that podcast, because of the... they attacked us, and I was just like,
great. Now that is that's a great thing.
It's a badge of honor that I think is awesome. As a matter of fact, I think let me pull the because Facebook and they were all just going off, and I was like, hang on, let me post that picture right there. So these are the territories that we got blocked,
nice.
And it was because of our podcast. We were shit posting on them. We were, whatever, and talking what they were talking. And then there you go. The next thing you know, I'm getting all these.
Hard.
But anyways, okay. So Putin's health.
So the thing about his health is that I actually think that he's got back problems. I think that's been true since before 2014. He has back problems. He has some pain problems. I don't think the man has cancer. I don't think we're going to be lucky enough to see him die. I think that we have to have a situation where people finally get sick of having their future destroyed in Russia, and somebody finally has to take out Caesar. It has to be like an Ides of March type of situation. I don't see it, unfortunately, happening in any other way. If I had any plausible rumor that said, hey, he really is sick, I would be 100% certain. Sorry, my son is over there, by the way. I have a cat and a child who are kind of almost joining us on the show.
That's okay. I'll say hi, dear. I won't blow per sec, but hey, what's up, buddy?
But I think he's going to come out in a second. But in general, and Lev, I've told you so much about that.
Yeah.
But basically, I think that his health is actually more or less fine, and it should come down to them. I don't think if they murder him in public, that would be bad for Russia. I think what they should do is just kind of again, arrange a nice heart attack for him. Just he had a heart attack, the boss was stressed.
Or have him standing next to a window, because the Russian politicians seem to be flying out of windows lately. So
they do. Business leaders, military leaders are flying out of windows. And again, unfortunate accident / heart attack. Heart attack would be more believable. So that's what I would advise them to do if if they asked me what I thought. Which they haven't. That's the problem with the world, is that not enough people ask me what they should do.
Well, dude, your predictions are freaking they scare the shit out of me. I'm like, holy crap, because you literally I was reviewing some of the podcast stuff. I'm like, god damn, dude, you got to be careful. I just don't say. Okay, so then I'll say this: nukes. Everyone's talking about nukes. Everyone's talking about nukes.
I think think he's ruled it out from his calculus for now because it's not really going to help him accomplish his goals in Ukraine. You know, like Ukrainians are not going to give up if he drops a nuke somewhere in Ukraine. They're not. Like, I mean, I think that's obvious even to a moron like him. But also, like, he is genuinely wary because it's been transmitted to him. People have made it clear that, like, you use a nuke, dude. Like, you're kiss the Black Sea Fleet, kiss everything goodbye. Like, that's it. You know, it's going to be a conventional response on our part, but it's going to be devastating. You know, like, he can't afford it. He will have no military if he does this. So I think he's ruled it out for now.
Right.
We'll see how he feels next.
Yeah, I was because I was thinking that if he, and that's a good point that you bring up. I think our response, we would have to respond. We would have to be, because I just have a feeling that somehow we would be connected and mixed up in it, and the next thing you know, an American would have been killed, or you know, our support. We would have to, as the U.S., we'd have to do something. We would have to respond.
Yeah.
I think a couple of Moabs in Red Square would freaking wake everybody up. You know what I mean? And to know that would be the response. I don't know if we would go full nuclear, but it's just the talk of it. You know, duck and cover, all that sort of shit that we grew up with. It just kind of like, you know, I don't see him doing it either.
No, I mean, I think, again, like, we can, a conventional response, non-nuclear response by the United States would be absolutely devastating to him. Do you want to say hi to Ken and his audience? No?
What's up, Lev? How you doing, buddy?
I'm okay.
All right, man.
Putin. Oh, now the cat's joined us as well.
Putin,
yeah.
Yeah, we're shooting. Yeah, fuck Putin. Sorry, can you say that?
I just heard it before.
Okay.
Which I apologize for.
You're good.
Well, now the cat. Can you take the cat before she ruins the show with her? Oh, thank you, Lev. I appreciate that. We have to kick the cat out because then she'd want attention. She gets very jealous if I'm paying attention to other people besides her.
It's an American cat, though, right? I mean, that's why.
Very American. Yeah, she's a DC cat. She's a DC cat. So she's very much like a reality TV star, basically. She's like a Real House cat of TV.
So Moldova, you know, they did a declaration of condemning it. Was there any specifics out of that declaration? Did they say anything that was of note, or was this pretty much everything what the international community is already saying?
Moldova, do you mean the recent instability in Moldova?
Yeah, well, they kind of like having some of that, and also the parliament just said, hey, we're declaring condemning the Russian aggression against Ukraine. But I'm just wondering, are they saying the same thing that we're saying, or other than the fact that, oh yeah, we condemn it because everybody else is condemning it?
No, it's pretty straightforward in Moldova. You know, they do have there's Transnistria, right? They have that part of Moldova that basically is decided to live in the Soviet age and has been kind of like a time capsule for many years. And Moldova is super worried about, you know, Russia potentially just like lopping it off too, you know, so they have their own territorial concerns. And Russia is now like, I think they tried to say that like, oh, actually Ukraine's going to invade Transnistria, which like, why would they?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, Moldova would have a lot to lose from any further Russian aggression. So I don't think it's, unless I'm misreading something, I don't know, like there's plenty of Moldova experts out there that are way better than I am at this. But I think at one point they were busting also like, I saw on the news some Russians had been bussed into Moldova at some point to like have some kind of staged protest type of situation.
Yeah,
or they were being bussed in from Transnistria or whatever.
Yeah. But it's all. I mean, it wasn't big enough to like.
Well, Moldova, like, nobody pays attention to Moldova until like something big happens.
Right, exactly. I was the same thing when I was learning the language. I was like, what the fuck is this? Moldova?
Yeah,
that's a country.
It's a great country. They have amazing wine, right? Moldova makes amazing wine, by the way. If you ever want to have some really great wine from like that part of the world, Moldovan wine.
Right. Did you? I mean, did you expect them not to say anything though? I mean, they would, of course, gonna say something.
Well, of course they would have to, because again, like stability in Moldova could be fragile, and the last thing they want is Russians fucking up their shit, you know,
Right.
if I may say so plainly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's absolutely like nobody in Moldovans don't benefit from Russia going haywire. Like, I mean, nobody really does. Like, Russians don't benefit from Russia going haywire.
Right. Really. Exactly.
This entire situation is based on a delusion that the Kremlin has, that it basically kind of projects onto everybody else, and here we are.
So that now let's talk about the China factor in this. Go ahead. You're about ready. They said they're going to provide non-lethal aid, and now they're talking about considering doing lethal aid. So what does this add to the mix?
I mean, I think that in terms of China, like China's always had its eyes on the Russian Far East, and there's no situation with China providing any kind of aid to Russia. No situation. They're like it. Either way it happens, it ends up with Russia being China's bitch. Again, I'm just using plain language. I understand.
No.
I can.
No,
you know,
no, we love it. We love colorful metaphors. That's what it's all about. No, we want to hear that up front. What people don't realize is that I think China is like laying in wait for Russia to get weak so they can push west. That's just me. If I'm too far off, then
I think so. I think that, you know, it's Chinese investment in the Russian Far East has been through the roof for many years now. And they're not, you know, again, and there's similar patterns to how they invest in on the African continent, for example, in sub-Saharan Africa. They're not investing to like, oh, help out the little guys. They're investing with like a very clear like agenda in terms of like, it's a very colonial form of investment in many ways that they're doing. And, you know, I do think that any help that comes from China comes at a really great cost to Russia. You know, Russia, I think the way Putin wants to position himself is that, oh, China is my big cool friend.
Right.
But in fact, what it really is again, like it's Putin ending up being China's bitch.
Yep.
So, you know, will Putin be desperate enough to kind of like sign some kind of like nasty devil's bargain with China? Sure.
A treaty of non-aggression? Is that what you're talking about? That sounds fucking familiar.
Yeah, I just think that this man is screwed no matter what he does at this point. You know, if I was him, I'd take the honorable way out and, you know, suck Star to Mikado for whatever it is.
Right, and then just take off or just remove forces. I mean, that's the only way this war is going to end anyways. Russia leaves, period. Everyone's talking about ceasefire. Everyone's talking about negotiated territories. That's not on the table.
They can't do it, and they especially can't do it because Russia is raping and torturing people everywhere on those occupied territories. And the fact is, we don't hear that much about Crimea, you know, because Crimea was this bloodless takeover, you know, because of the way it happened and how it happened. But they've been disappearing, torturing, raping, and killing people in Crimea for years now.
Right.
And again, like you can't, like, I'm sorry, like it's kind of like you can't negotiate with a psychopath.
Right.
Like you can't. Like, oh, like, will you please just like cut off my ears so you can leave my leg alone? Like, it's not how.
Yeah, exactly.
The psychopath always takes more, and we know this. We've known this throughout history. Is that unfortunately, when you have like a leader going bananas and deciding himself to be basically God, you can't appease. You can't keep giving him. You know, you can't keep feeding people to him, thinking that he's going to stop. Oh, eventually he's going to stop eating these people because he's going to get full. No, they never do. So I don't want to make predictions about how this war is going to end. I really do not. It just doesn't, like, Russia has a chance to do the Russian elite has a chance to do the right thing here by getting rid of Putin. And they're very scared. And, you know, there's a reason, you know, why the Kremlin is leaking like crazy is because everybody in the Kremlin is scared.
Right.
Our intel services have had unprecedented access to what's going on because everybody's scared.
Right. Now, do you think that could lead to a coup? Do you think it could get to a window fallout or some poison or whatever?
I don't think a coup in a traditional sense. I do think, like, again, like if I was them, I'd have him have a nice heart attack.
Yeah.
So then they can save face on TV and just say he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Nobody will believe it, but they'll go along with
I don't think the people will believe anything that says something bad. Oh yeah, well, immediately he fell and he hurt himself and he had a blood clot and he died. I don't think anybody's going to believe that. I think we'll be like, yeah, well, they killed him.
Yeah, they're not going to believe it, but also they're not going to go like storm the Kremlin over his death.
Right, exactly.
They're not going to do that.
Yeah, they're actually going to be like, oh, okay, well, let's go to McDonald's. Well, wait.
Yeah, let's have McDonald's back. Well, they don't have McDonald's
That's
right
right.
now.
I forgot. Yeah. They got McPutin, or they got Mc whatever they call it.
They have this weird knockoff McDonald's now. But
McVlad or something like that. I can't remember.
It's called Vkusnaya Doshka. It's like tasty. Period. That's what it's called. Tasty. Period.
Okay. So here's a topic that you and I have talked about this before. We have responsibilities here at home. This was how do I say this without sounding too fucking militaristic? But this is the war that my generation growing up was supposed to have fought. And I know our veteran friends, you have veteran friends, I have veteran friends, and they're bringing up. I mean, they're bringing up some sentiment about being over there. What are they telling you? I know some of my friends were like, "Fuck yeah, we should go over there," but I got kids. I got to raise a family, blah blah blah, and I can't leave, or my health isn't good. What have they been telling you?
I think that what they've been telling me is indicative of how we really need to talk to our friends, and everybody should be paying attention to this, including the VA, by the way. It's because we have great, wonderful people. We have the world's most professional, most amazing military. Let's not forget that. And it was at war for 20 fucking years. And now they're seeing what the Ukrainians are fighting for. And you could be critical of aid to Ukraine, critical of whatever, you and I both know Joe Ken will be like, well, unfortunately it's a buffer state, what can you do? And again, I will be happy to tell Joe why that's not true. But at the same time, overall, even if you don't think we should be sending aid to Ukraine, a lot of these people are seeing Ukrainians fight for their homes, fight for their families, fight for their it's an existential fight. It's almost I hate people. You can make fun of me all you want, but people do hear that Avengers music, right? When they see
yeah, that's what
they do.
Well, we all kind of that's how we had that mentality while the Cold War was happening. We were waiting, and I said this a couple podcasts back, is that any war that we have been involved that involves a former or a current communist state, Russia has always been behind the scenes, or China, whether it be Vietnam, whether it be Korea, whether it be I guarantee it, they were probably doing some shit in Afghanistan while we were there. One of the sentiment that I remember we were talking about is that there's no confusion of what's going on over there. There's
no confusion.
We know it's a nation state. It's an enemy state. It's not some dudes running around in freaking whatever clothes they're wearing and ambiguous and can blend in to the populace. These are actual uniformed individuals. These are not the. So I think I could feel it. That's the cause. That's the.
Yeah.
You want to go over there because we're not fighting jihadism. We're not fighting somebody who's a coward that will detonate themselves in a crowd. I mean, this is. I mean, we post videos once in a while and stuff like that too, and we've shared videos too. This is war. This is the force on force war, and I feel, and it's just me, I feel bad. What the fuck? Why is Ukraine fucking handling all this shit? We should be, you know what I mean? We should be, there should be some more involvement.
No, people are having a lot of complicated feelings because, for a lot of people, Ukraine is fighting the war that they think they should have fought.
Correct.
And it's easy, and you know why it's being fought, and you know why these people have no choice but to fight, and they're sacrificers. And it's you're not standing, Ukrainians are not standing in the middle of Ukraine going why are we in this country? What is going on?
Right.
They have a clear goal. They have a clear objective. Their backs are up against the wall.
Yep.
And they're giving them hell. Right. And I think for our veteran community, I think there should be more, just more open conversation about this. And people should be getting the support that they need, to deal with this. Because again, the global war on terror, like for so many great, amazing, brave, badass fucking people, it was just so hard. It was so hard for them. And like a lot of people that I've spoken to since this started and over this past year are like, why the fuck am I not over there? Or like, or why the fuck did they get to fight this when I didn't?
Yeah.
And it's okay. I'm just gonna say this, like, it's okay to have those feelings. I also feel like shit being over here, like as a, even though like I'm a girl, I'm a civilian, but like also like that's my native country. Like most of my family there, my friends, like I have a home there, our family cat is there for God's sake, and I can't go because I'm a mother.
Yeah.
And I have responsibility towards my child that comes first. I can't bring him into a war zone and I can't leave him behind. So I like on some level, I can see that extreme just frustration and not being able to help. And like me, what I do, like the things that I do or try to do in order to help. And I'm lucky that I've been in a position to help many wonderful people who are fighting. But I also just think that as Americans, as like American society, we should be taking care of people who right after fucking Afghanistan, fucking Kabul falls, and then like this happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And this happens, and we should be having that conversation. That's all I'm saying.
Right. No, I always, I talk to my bros and they get so passionate, and maybe it's because it's an age difference, because it's the difference of age and all that. I'm like, guys, this was the and I talked to this to them on Monday. Had GWAT not happened and we were just doing our normal stuff and we didn't do any of our shit, I guarantee it, we would be involved. We would be there involved, providing some sort of on the ground support. Speaking of getting involved, let's talk about the grifters.
Oh my god! Oh, this is the thing. See, I'm fresh out of my Diet Pepsi. I wish I had more, because Diet Pepsi helps me deal, like it literally, because like my blood pressure starts going up when I think about these people, and Diet Pepsi is a great way to calm me down. But in general, like there are some grifters, unfortunately, some American grifters that have used. Well, and not just American, there's plenty of others, but they have used this devastating genocidal war. Let's not forget that Vladimir Putin is literally trying to wipe Ukraine off the map. He's trying to destroy the very concept of Ukraine and the language, the Ukrainian language, and the culture and everything else. And meanwhile, you have people who unfortunately are using this to self-promote.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you want me to start naming some names?
Yeah, you can name anybody you want. I mean, people want to know because they want to run away from. That's another thing too. I think a lot of the grifters that don't realize what they're doing when they're jumping into something like this. I mean, you talk about OSINT all the fucking time. You talk about everything. Getting involved with this shit, getting involved with this stuff. Your ass could be compromising your friends and family by clout chasing, by I'll fucking say it, but you're pulling a Malcolm Nance, and you pull that. I mean, we literally right before you came on, we just talked about this one kid that defected, that was in the army, got out of the fucking army, only served like 2 years, went to Ukraine to spy on Ukraine to grab all details and information, and then Russian television has a video of him, and he's interviewing him, and he says, I provided names, I provided lists, I provided details, I provided face. And then he goes into 9 minutes within the set. There's also some Navy guy that's part of the Foreign Legion. And I think his name is Marcus. And I'm like, bro, literally on Russian propaganda TV, did he mean to say Marcus, or did he mean to say Malcolm? You know what I mean? You're putting yourself out in a position like that. I'm not saying that Malcolm's doing, heroic, crazy shit. I don't know what he's doing. But you definitely see that, I don't know, when it comes to a book or an interview or whatever. I know there's memes out there that we like to drop once in a while about him. Yeah. Everyone's saying drop names. So go ahead, drop names.
Well, in terms of that guy who defected, he's not gonna have a good time. The defector, the guy who defected to Russia. What you have to understand about Russia is that one of the few things I can genuinely respect about Russian culture and society, maybe the only thing I respect about them at this point, is that they hate a traitor. They hate a traitor. they're never going to trust this guy. He's not going to have a good life in Russia. He's going to be watched at all times. He's going to be made to feel uncomfortable, and he's going to be made to feel like a loser, because that's the one thing Russians can't respect, because it's like, if you betray your own guys, then how the fuck can we trust you?
Right, right.
And they have a point. They do. So this motherfucker right here, like, I'm sorry, dude, like, you're not going to have a good time. You can tell that Edward Snowden is also,
yeah,
he's not happy in Russia. You can tell. I'm sorry, like, you can tell. And people, you know, there's people who worship the ground that he walks on. I think at the time, like, when he first defected to Russia, even I wrote some editorial in The Guardian, like, feeling sorry for him, which I now fully denounce. I denounce my own editorial.
It's
like,
okay.
Why did I ever feel sorry for that?
Yeah,
asshole?
I know. Sometimes I have regrets sometimes too about people I feel sorry for.
I should not have felt sorry for him. But generally speaking, none of these defectors, you never have a good time in Russia as a defector.
Right.
They will never trust you. They do not respect you. At least like in America, when people defect to the United States, we see it. We're like, oh, you want a better life. You want a fucking white picket fence. You want to have the American fucking dream. When you're defecting to Russia, the Russians themselves are confused. They're like, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
Right.
Like, we were born here. We had no choice. What are you doing?
Yeah, well, that's what I was, I got some people got butthurt online when I was shit talking about Steven Seagal. The dude was an American, flag waving, doing movies about clandestine operations in Cambodia and Burma, and talked about, he was a Navy SEAL and under siege. He was a freaking cop in Louisiana. And the next thing you know, you see him, he's 2016, he became a fucking Russian citizen, and he just recently received an award from Putin for being an ambassador or being a goodwill. I don't know what the fucking Russian awards are, but
that man went to Mariupol. So Steven Seagal actually had the balls, or he was stupid enough to go to Mariupol, a city that where like the ground is littered with bones. Like, they've turned that city. They took Mariupol is a beautiful city, and they turned it into just a macabre, like, monument to destruction and death and rot and violence. And that fucking asshole goes over there. Like, honestly, like, people can be as butthurt as they want, but Steven, like, I feel like, okay, in the case of Steven, it's different for him because Putin likes his movies. And he does. So, Putin likes his movies. Steven probably will be fine in Russia, I guess. I heard a rumor, and I forget, I'm not sure if this is true or not. Again, I'm saying this was a rumor back in the day. It might be true. I think the whole reason why Steven went to Russia, got the citizenship, is because he owned a crime family money. He owned a crime family money in the United States. And that was a big, like, the impetus behind his decision was to, look at this guy.
Sorry, I have pictures ready.
But that's what I heard. That's what I heard about his financial situation was not good. So, and again, Putin likes his movies, so Steven will be fine. Everybody else, people who actually like defect to Russia, they're not going to have a nice time. And as for Malcolm Nance, I don't know. Do you have any pictures of Malcolm Nance you'd like to pull up?
I was going to pull up some of our memes. Man, I can. I think. Hang on, I gotta dig my thought. But Malcolm Nance, what's okay? I'll be honest with you. Until that kid, I didn't give a shit about Malcolm Nance. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's fucking doing his shit, doing whatever. He shit posts on us. He shit posted on me and you. Shit posted on a lot of people. It's a lot of our friends. And I think that when that one kid, like I said, that fucking little private, said that he was dealing with some Navy guy. I don't, that just fucking, like, dude, I don't think he realizes he's like, I don't know. It seems like he's like a minute of fucking of just getting taken out just by somebody's gonna fucking get pissed off. They're gonna see he's gonna talk too much or reveal too much, and now they're gonna connect him to this private that he might be revealing some stuff. They're like, oh, so you were a CIA spy, and there's gonna be some people there. They're gonna be like, yeah, okay, we're done. You know what I mean?
I don't know. So the thing about Malcolm is that, and I can be open about this. I can be open about it. Malcolm and I used to be friends. I considered Malcolm.
I remember. Yeah.
We were good friends, and then Malcolm started pushing certain conspiracy theories. there's Malcolm, my former friend. And then when I asked, I contacted him privately. I didn't call him out in public. I contacted him privately, and I said, Malcolm, like, look, you're wrong. Like, I'm like trying to help you here. Like, again, like, I know what I'm talking about, Malcolm, you're wrong. Like, please listen to me. He ended up like screaming at me and then blocking my number because I very politely told him he was wrong about something. And he had accused me of like leaking our conversations and doing all this other shit. And I was like, no, like, he was spreading conspiracy theory about my friends, about our friends, Ken. And
and me too. Us, yeah. I was like, yeah. Yeah.
And I told him, I said, you're hurting people. You're hurting real people. You're hurting my friends. And the conspiracy theory, even like, it involved me as well at one point. And I was like, you're hurting me too. Like, can you just please listen to reason? And of course I told I told my friends that I had spoken to you, Malcolm, because they were concerned that you were spreading a conspiracy theory about them.
Yeah.
And he just accused me of a bunch of crazy shit and blocked my number. So I was like, you know what? This man, and again, I'm grateful. Like, it's super cool that he's trying to keep Ukraine in the news. I wish he wasn't doing it in a really cringy way, you know, whatever. Like, that's just my opinion. We all do our part. Malcolm's doing his part. You know, I'm not going to hold it against him, but at the same time, like, in terms of like OPSEC and in terms of just, you know, in terms of like not, I don't know, like, I feel like you shouldn't, like, there's a great picture of Malcolm and he's got this clean kit. It's not the picture that you showed, but he's got this clean kit and he's all happy. And there's these Ukrainian dudes behind him who are filthy and exhausted. And they're just lying down on the floor.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They were.
Remember that
he was in a room.